As we delve deeper into Russia's covert strategies, a shocking revelation emerges. Hidden in secret documents, we uncover a detailed blueprint used by Russian intelligence to sabotage Western nations from within. This isn't just espionage, it's an intricate dance of psychological manipulation designed to weaken unity. Could this unseen war be the true threat lurking behind modern conflicts? Following the collapse of the Soviet Union, Russia's worldview shifted. No longer relying solely on nuclear brinkmanship, it adopted a new approach, subtle, insidious, and long-term. The old plans for Blitzkrieg, intended to conquer Europe within days, were replaced by a different kind of warfare, psychological and informational. An era where influence is wielded through whispers, disinformation, and digital shadows. The blueprint reveals how modern tactics echo Cold War tactics but with a sinister twist. Imagine carefully mapped social networks, influential figures scrutinized, subtle messages planted in media and social platforms. This is no accident. It's a calculated process, each move designed to fragment communities, sow distrust, foster chaos. The goal? Create a fertile ground where conflict can flourish, paving the way for a controlled upheaval. But how effective are these efforts? And could they really trigger an open confrontation? The stakes have never been higher. The process begins with meticulous social analysis, dissecting the fabric of a nation's society. Analysts identify key leaders, fragile factions, and vulnerable groups. They dive into personal traits, habits, and hidden tensions. The air thickens with anticipation. Every word, every gesture, every conflict becomes a target for exploitation. These insights lead to an even darker phase, deploying operatives to influence, coerce, or manipulate. It's a precise choreography of influence, each piece carefully placed to erode trust and stability from within. But what happens next? The environment itself becomes a battlefield. Operatives evaluate their resources. How many agents are available? What skills do they possess? What channels of influence can be leveraged? From covert social media campaigns to cyber attacks, the tools are as diverse as they are deadly. Meanwhile, the broader socio-economic landscape is scrutinized. How do local populations view Russia? What are the prevailing economic tensions? Every detail adds a layer to the intricate puzzle. The stakes are enormous. These operations threaten not just individual nations but the very foundation of international stability. An unexpected twist looms. As the West remains oblivious, hidden forces continue their relentless game. The question is, how deep does this shadow war go? Will these influence campaigns trigger an unstoppable crisis, or can nations resist before it's too late? One thing is certain, knowledge is power, and uncovering these secrets could be the key to safeguarding the future. As our story unfolds, fierce intelligence operations ripple beneath the surface of global tensions. Imagine a vast web of influence stretching across nations, meticulously crafted by shadowy agencies. What if the entire fabric of society could be reshaped from within, without a single shot fired? The truth is far more startling, and more dangerous, than most realize. Previous parts revealed that foreign actors are deploying complex psychological tactics to destabilize entire nations. Now, we delve into how these plans are woven, step by step. The first move involves dissecting the social landscape, mapping out every community, every leader, every influence point. Analysts scrutinize the pulse of society, noting trust levels, conflicts, and vulnerabilities. They collect detailed profiles on key figures, from local influencers to small organizations. Their goal? Identify weak spots, areas where a subtle push could topple the whole structure. Picture the analysts in dark rooms, poring over data. They listen to whispers, observe behaviors, feel the atmosphere like an electric storm. They ask themselves, how fragile is this society? Which channels, media, social circles, informal networks, can be exploited? But this mapping is just the beginning. Next comes assessing what resources are actually available. How many operatives can be dispatched? What skills do they possess? Are there technological tools, cyber weapons, psychological tactics, that can be wielded? What influences can reward loyalty or coerce obedience? Every detail counts, every choice could alter the course of an entire operation. Now, imagine the analysts exploring the battlefield of influence. They study the environment, the social currents, the economic pressures, the international opinions swirling around. They seek to understand the roots of unrest, the undercurrents feeding dissent. Are foreign sentiments simmering beneath the surface? How can these weaknesses be exploited for maximum impact? The stakes are colossal. Because, beneath it all, this is a silent war, one of influence, perception, and psychological dominance. What happens when these covert operations succeed? When societies become divided, trust erodes, and chaos erupts from within? The line between peace and conflict blurs, hidden, relentless, unstoppable. The question remains, are the world's leaders truly aware of the invisible storm brewing just beneath their feet? As tensions mount and the shadows deepen, a hidden war is unfolding beneath the surface of everyday life. Behind closed doors, unseen forces craft plans with chilling precision, aiming to influence entire nations without firing a single shot. What if the very thoughts and beliefs of millions are being subtly manipulated? Could your own perceptions be tomorrow's battlefield? Recent leaks reveal a disturbing truth: adversaries are mapping the social fabric of target countries with strategic cunning. They analyze every split, every trust point, every cultural landmark, every detail that shapes a community's mind. Sounds daunting? You bet. Imagine a web of influence so intricate it can sway elections, incite unrest, or even dismantle entire societies from within. But how do they do it? The answer lies in meticulous reconnaissance. Each social group, leader, and local trend becomes a puzzle piece. Analysts gather intelligence on emotional weak spots, deep-seated complexes, stubborn stereotypes, fragile identities. Their goal? Find those vulnerable points, the cracks in the fortress of public consciousness, and exploit them to their advantage. Do they succeed? The evidence suggests they do, and often without anyone realizing it. Once the weaknesses are identified, the next phase involves precise operational planning. Every resource, from social media accounts to covert agents, is evaluated. How many operatives are available? What skills do they possess? Can they influence without revealing their hand? Meanwhile, the environment itself is scrutinized: economic conditions, political unrest, cultural tensions, all factors that can be triggered or exploited. The question remains, how close are we to losing control of this invisible war? The stakes are unimaginably high. This is no longer just theory. The leaks expose detailed guides, step-by-step instructions for planting influence campaigns, for sowing discontent, for crafting narratives that seep into the collective mind like malware. The document reads like a spy novel mixed with a psychological manual, filled with complex strategies designed to reshape perceptions and destabilize entire nations. The implications? Mind-blowing. The danger? Real and present. Could your society already be under such a siege? The answer might surprise you. In our last chapter, we delved into Russia's shadowy Phase Zero tactics, where the FSB meticulously maps societies, assesses resources, and zeroes in on psychological vulnerabilities. They craft algorithms, draw from past ops catalogs, and even consult psychologists to refine plans. When roadblocks hit, they pivot with indirect paths. Metrics define success, like eroding military morale, and plans adapt midstream. This isn't just theory, it's alive in drone-filled battlefields and undercover agents. Now, what shocking truth lurks in these FSB files that could unravel Europe's defenses? Imagine the hiss of whispered secrets in a dimly lit room, the sharp metallic tang of stale coffee clinking mugs, the gritty feel of dossiers under fingers. Could infiltrators posing as frightened refugees already be creeping through your streets? Building on that meticulous groundwork, Russia's masterminds pull from past operations like old blueprints to accelerate their schemes. When operatives lack the right skills, experts step in, psychologists often join the fray to tweak minds. If resources run thin, they scout crooked paths, alternative tactics that cheaper to execute yet hit the mark. Picture the cold glare of monitors flickering in a bunker, the low hum of servers processing data, the electric pulse of urgency as plans solidify. What if these controllers view us like pawns on a global chessboard, ready to topple? Tasks assigned, methods honed, resources allocated, now comes the final reckoning, calculating impacts. Success defined by how many troops fracture, voices silenced in despair. Metrics vary. But failure spurs revision, shifting deployments, ramping up efforts, twisting conditions. This precise orchestration appears seldom on Ukraine's ravaged fields, where mud clings like blood-stained memories. But according to insiders, FSB operatives excel in execution, wielding an arsenal of psychological tricks sharpened over time. The air crackles with tension, the scent of conspiracy heavy like fog over a border. Could their hidden agents humiliate defenders before a shot's fired, turning allies into shadows of doubt? They reportedly unleash trained spies disguised as desperate Ukrainian migrants, and even Kurdish operatives slipping through Belarus, masked as Syrian exiles, to burrow into Western hearts. That refugee veil as a Trojan horse? A twist that shatters trust, exposing Europe seems wider than ever. But here's the gut punch revelation: this isn't Cold War relic, it's evolving cyber subversion fused with old-school deceit. Feel the chilling draft of divide and conquer, the echo of fake narratives poisoning feeds. How far will these psyops burrow before they sprout real conflict? As voices abroad decry Russia's hunger for Europe, lurking doubts whisper, is Phase Zero already priming NATO for betrayal? The desperation builds, decisions teeter, what hidden pivots await in the machinery of war? The threat of infiltration runs deep inside Russia's borders. As we unravel the layers of espionage, the numbers reveal staggering vulnerabilities. By 2015, over 5.8 million Ukrainians lived in Russia, more than 4% of the entire population. They were the 8th largest ethnic group among over 190 represented. Among them, over 1 million were refugees fleeing the conflict in Donbass after 2014. Since Russia's invasion in 2022, these numbers surged even higher, with estimates reaching up to nearly 3 million. Imagine this, a vast sea of displaced Ukrainians, many hiding more than just their belongings. It becomes a golden opportunity for intelligence agencies. The Military Intelligence Service of Ukraine, the SBU, exploited this chaos brilliantly. In early June 2025, the world witnessed a daring operation, agents deeply embedded across Russian cities, precise smuggling of equipment, and coordinated strikes. They hit the strategic bomber bases with unexpected drone assaults. Trucks converted into mobile launch pads, launching attacks without warning, causing catastrophic damage and humiliation. The command hub? Located startlingly close to a local FSB office. What secrets did this daring feat uncover? But the story doesn't stop there. Evidence suggests the Russian spies are fighting fire with fire. In October 2024, Russia's investigation committee warned of increased attempts by foreigners to coax Russians into sabotage. A month later, the FSB exposed a purported Ukrainian plot to recruit youth into a clandestine organization, an entity reminiscent of the darkest chapters of history. Could this be another layer of psychological warfare? Or is it preparing the ground for future chaos? This shadow war is layered with deception, manipulation, and ruthless strategy. Are foreign operatives lurking everywhere, inside refugee communities, within military ranks, even in the heart of government buildings? The lines between friend and foe blur, as each side employs invisible weapons, cyber penetrations, psychological tactics, and covert operations. As the chaos escalates, one question remains clear: who truly controls the narrative, before the next shockwave hits? Imagine the chill of uncertainty creeping through Europe's streets, where whispers of invasion echo like distant thunder. In our last dive, we uncovered how leaked documents from Ukrainian intelligence reveal Russia's subtle psyops playbook, mapping societies, exploiting weaknesses, and building covert networks to soften the ground for potential control. Yet, outlets like Byline Times fuel the fire with bold claims of an unstoppable Phase Zero, mirroring the very tactics they expose, leaving us to question, who's really pulling the strings in this shadow game? What if the looming Russian threat to NATO is nothing but smoke and mirrors, a grand illusion designed to keep us all on edge? Picture this: as tensions simmer, experts are shouting from the rooftops that Moscow's bark is far worse than its bite. Shocking, right? Anatol Lieven, a sharp-minded analyst, alongside the Quincy Institute for Responsible Statecraft, drops a bombshell. They insist Russia simply doesn't have the muscle or the motive to storm NATO's gates or carve into the European Union. Feel the weight of that doubt settling in, like a fog rolling over the Baltic shores, muffling the alarms. Their reasoning cuts deep, blending Russia's core obsessions with its glaring weaknesses. Moscow's gaze is locked on Ukraine, seen not just as a neighbor but as the beating heart of its security and storied past. Why chase shadows in Western Europe when the fight at home drains every resource? Imagine the strain, the economy teetering on collapse, troops stretched thin in mud-soaked fields. If the conflict in Ukraine is slipping away, as so many fear, how could Putin even dream of clashing with NATO's mighty alliance? It's like a boxer, battered and broke, stepping into the ring against a heavyweight champ. The odds? Laughably against him. From the invasion's first shots, Russian voices have echoed this denial, firm as iron. Fast forward to September's UN General Assembly, where Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov stands tall, declaring no designs on EU or NATO soil. But he flips the script with a steely warning: any poke at Russia will meet a thunderous reply. Putin himself waves off the panic, labeling invasion fears as pure fantasy, absurd whispers in the wind. Cool down, sleep soundly, he smirks, his words dripping with patronizing calm, like a parent soothing a frightened child in the dead of night. Yet, here's the twist that sends shivers down your spine: what if desperation breeds the unthinkable? Economic sage Gerald Salantra nails it: when leaders hit rock bottom, war becomes their twisted escape hatch. These cornered regimes love nothing more than pointing fingers outward, channeling public fury away from their own failures. The air thickens with resentment, the ground trembles under marching feet, and suddenly, a nation tumbles into conflict's embrace. As Russia's war falters and homefront grumbles grow louder amid empty wallets and bitter cold, could Putin and his unyielding allies see escalation as their only lifeline? The question hangs heavy: is this the spark that ignites Europe's nightmare, or just another bluff in the high-stakes poker game? In the prior segment, we delved into how desperate leaders often ignite wars to escape domestic nightmares, shifting blame onto shadowy foes, heating up public rage. Now, could Putin be trapped, seeing expansion as his only lifeline, out of Russia's painful defeat in Ukraine, amid crumbling finances and growing unrest at home? But wait, a chilling mirror reflects back. In Europe, the same desperate echoes ring. Countries drowning in economic turmoil, like Germany, the UK, and France, stir the loudest cries for battle readiness against Russia. Is it mere coincidence, or a shared script of doom? In these lands, where discontent festers like a brewing storm, politicians fan the flames of fear, masking their own failures in patriotic zeal. The air thickens, with the sharp tang of uncertainty, streets humming with whispered anxieties, fingers tapping nervously on phones, as if war drums beat just beneath the surface. Yet, the Ukrainian intelligence officials, the elusive elves, aren't isolated voices in this darkening chorus. They spotlight Russia's hidden maneuvers, threats stretching far beyond mere borders. Donald Tusk, Poland's prime minister, warned in a TVN24 interview that Russia wields weapons far deadlier than armies. These could shatter the European Union, not just as a political union, but as Europe's very soul, its cultural heartbeat. He pointed to Moscow's fifth column, a venomous network slithering through every nation on the continent, poisoning trust, eroding unity. Picture this: invisible infiltrators weaving through society's fabric, like unseen ghosts in the night fog, their footprints silent, but their influence rippling out, corroding minds, one doubt at a time. They operate in every corner, manipulating events, fostering division, preparing the ground for conquest. The clash here burns, between wary pragmatism and apocalyptic paranoia. Is it premature to scream that the hordes are breaching the walls, snarling like mythical beasts? Perhaps? Russia stands weakened, its military bruised, wary of NATO's iron fist, too fragile to unleash hell on alliance members. Or does the byline times hit the mark, with Putin's Soviet revival dreams? Phase Zero marking war's unstoppable tide? Whatever the truth, one path gleams clear amid the chaos. Root out and crush Russia's fifth column now, before its tendrils strangle us all. Vigilance demands action, relentless, decisive. As we watch the horizon, for cracks in the facade, a shocking revelation emerges, twisting fate itself. But is that faint shadow, lurking in the gloom, not Russia's spy, but our own betrayal? What if Europe's loudest alarmists, the very ones screaming against invasion, are unknowingly paving the freeway, inviting the wolf in disguise, with their fear-mongering frenzy? Suddenly, the protectors become the prey, a humiliating irony, where hubris blinds us, to the hand that feeds the fire. The game flips, and in this unexpected betrayal, we realize, the real battleground is within, our crumbling resolve. Begging the question, who truly controls the narrative, when peace slips away in silence? In our last episode, we uncovered how Russian authorities, like the FSB, are sounding alarms about subversion threats. They warn that Russians of all ages face dangers from foreign enticements to sabotage. Just a month later, they claimed victory against a plot backed by NATO and Ukraine. It targeted Russia's youth army, eerily reminiscent of an infamous youth group from dark European history. They alleged phishing tactics, sending deceptive messages to gather data on the young for recruitment into espionage and upheaval. Imagine a pilot's temptation with $3 million and a new life abroad. Courageously, he turns in the shadowy offer. Was this a real dagger pointed at Russia's heart, or just another twist in the web of deception? Let's dive deeper into this chilling tale. The FSB paints a picture of Ukraine's intelligence agency, known as the GUR, launching phishing attacks. They intercepted and twisted communications from Russia's youth organizations. The aim? To harvest personal details on teens. Imagine the beep of a suspicious email alert. The cold sweat on your palm as you click. The goal, pulling them into covert operations that threaten Moscow's stability. But it escalates further. In mid-autumn 2024, the FSB unveiled what they call a thwarted masterpiece. Allegedly powered by the GUR and British intelligence, the scheme targeted hijacking a MiG-31K jet. This interceptor hummed with menace, armed with a Ka-4070M2 Kinzhal hypersonic missile. Picture the roar of engines revving at full throttle. The acrid smell of rocket fuel lingering in the air. The plot whispered through encrypted channels. Lure a Russian pilot with $3 million in cash. Promise glamorous Western citizenship. In exchange? Slingshot the jet to a NATO outpost in Constanța, Romania. A false flag gambit, sparking chaos. Yet, the pilot's loyalty shone through. He alerted superiors. Handlers crumbled. The mission dissolved before takeoff. Heart pounding in the silence. Rhetorical whispers echo, could this pilot's story hide a hero's tremor, or is it scripted drama? No official nods from the GUR or Britain's Defense Office. Shadows of doubt linger. Independent eyes haven't pierced the veil. Uncertainty simmers like fog over a chilly runway. Now, flip the script to Ukraine's side. Before the invasion's rumble, did Russia's FSB mirror tactics with equal cunning? They point to Operation Spiderweb. Whispers of plots to make takeover inevitable, circulated through secret vines. Gossip painted inevitability. Secret stripped, it's already sealed. Even the locals felt the icy grip of destiny, softening resistance. Imagine clandestine meetings in dim-lit cafes. The murmur of murmured truths. The paper leaflet crinkling in nervous hands. Tensions fracture like brittle ice. A startling irony twists the knife. The byline Times blasts headlines like Russia's Phase Zero is here or war with NATO inevitable. Experts warn in bold print. But here's the humiliation gambit, by sensationalizing, they fuel the very fears Russia's foes crave. An unwitting push for destabilization? Opponents mock, feeding the wolf with your own headline fodder. Cut back to a fleeting memory from the Cold War's edge. Sirens wailed through frostbitten nights in Europe. The metallic tang of fear on your tongue. Nuclear shadows loomed over cities, ready to obliterate Hamburg, Bonn, Munich, and beyond. A relic of Blitz plans that never unleashed, yet the chill memory lingers, warning of subtler wars. Rhetorical jolt, if headlines now echo old PSYOP chants, who truly pulls the strings in this grand, grinding conflict? A shocking revelation awaits in the next chapter. Do we underestimate the invisible battles shaping tomorrow? Will the West awaken, or drift deeper into division? As the conflict in Ukraine stretches into its fourth year, a growing tide of alarm bells echoes across Western nations. The message is clear: Russia is not stopping. Bright minds warn that after Ukraine, Vladimir Putin's sights are set on deepening his reach into Europe itself. Imagine a clock ticking down, each second bringing us closer to potential chaos. In recent months, observers have detected serious signs: troop movements, cyber strikes, and covert reconnaissance, clustering near NATO borders. Experts label this ominous prelude as Phase Zero. It's the quiet before the storm, the secret chess moves that set the stage for future chaos. Yet, what is truly unsettling is its purpose: psychological warfare designed to destabilize entire nations from within. The purpose? To weaken defenses before any real attack begins. It's a strategy of erosion, fading trust, inflaming division. Imagine entire societies caught in a web of misinformation, suspicion bubbling beneath the surface like a brewing storm. The aim: to make invasion smooth and unstoppable by sowing chaos early. This approach marks a stark departure from Cold War plans, those days when armies prepared for immediate conflict, with nuclear weapons ready for quick strike. Now, the game is played in the shadows, with tactics that involve subtle influence rather than brute force. Yet, the danger remains real. If these measures succeed, the consequences could alter the world order forever. The question remains: can this stealthy buildup be thwarted? Or are we unknowingly walking into a trap designed to topple us from within? The clock is ticking, and the stakes could not be higher. As tensions simmer, experts speak of a new phase, an unseen war of ideas and influence. If Phase Zero unfolds as planned, it could open the gates to unimaginable conflict. The question is no longer just about soldiers or missiles, but about our very minds, and whether we can resist the invisible hand guiding us toward chaos. The silence of the prep work is deafening. Can we detect the signs before it's too late? Or will the next move come as a jarring surprise, when the world least expects it? The stage is set. The players are ready. The outcome depends on what we see, and what we refuse to see. As tensions escalate, Russia's fears of infiltration and sabotage grow. Recent claims suggest foreign powers are actively targeting Russian youth, trying to turn innocent children into agents of chaos. Could these covert operations be the first sign of an impending invasion? Or are they just disinformation designed to sow panic? The truth is darker than anyone dares to imagine. Imagine walking through the city streets at dusk, the air heavy with an unspoken tension. In the shadows, unseen eyes probe your surroundings, listening, watching, waiting. Rumors say that even young children are now pawns in a shadowy game, lured with promises of Western rewards. The fear spreads like wildfire, intensifying with every passing day. But are these stories real? Or are they crafted to manipulate perceptions and weaken resolve? In November, the FSB claimed to have uncovered a terrifying plot. According to them, Ukrainian intelligence, with British support, attempted to seize a Russian aircraft armed with a hypersonic missile. The scheme? Recruit a Russian pilot willing to fly to a NATO base, igniting a false flag attack designed to trigger war. The supposed offer: millions of dollars and Western citizenship, an irresistible lure for those desperate or disillusioned. But why hasn't anyone verified these claims? Could this be just another piece of propaganda, or does it reveal a deeper, more sinister strategy? Behind the scenes, a complex web is spun. Stories of sabotage and espionage proliferate, each more alarming than the last. Intelligence agencies operate in the dark, exchanging coded messages and executing hidden plans. Ever wonder what it takes to pull off such deception? The spies analyze local society, identifying vulnerable groups and key figures. Personal dossiers are compiled, each detail a piece of the puzzle. They assess socio-political moods, trust levels, conflicts, everything that could be exploited. It's psychological warfare in its purest form. But what are the real capabilities behind this facade? How advanced are these tactics? And could they truly provoke a conflict of global scale? Many experts warn that these narratives are no coincidence. The same methods used during the Cold War, subversion, propaganda, and covert influence, are now adapted for the digital age. Subtle messages seep into social media, shaping perceptions and destabilizing societies. The line between truth and fiction blurs. Propaganda spreads like a virus, infecting minds and weakening unity. Key question: who benefits the most from this chaos? Are these just fears or signs of an imminent breach? The stakes have never been higher. The truth, if it ever surfaces, could change everything. As years pass and the conflict in Ukraine drags on, an ominous warning echoes louder than ever across Western nations. The message? Russia's relentless march doesn't stop. Bright minds warn that after Ukraine, Vladimir Putin's ambitions stretch deeper into Europe itself. Picture a ticking clock, each second bringing us closer to the edge of chaos. Recently, strange signs have emerged: troop movements near NATO borders, covert cyber attacks, secret reconnaissance missions shrouded in silence. This is what analysts call Phase Zero, the quiet before the storm, the hidden moves in a high-stakes chess game. But what truly makes this terrifying isn't just the actions, it's their purpose: psychological warfare designed to weaken entire nations from within. Imagine societies caught in a web of misinformation and suspicion, like a brewing storm beneath the surface. The goal? To sow chaos early, making invasion seamless and unstoppable. This new strategy is a radical shift from Cold War plans, where armies prepared openly for immediate conflict, ready to unleash nuclear devastation. Today, the game is played in shadows: subtle influence, propaganda, disinformation, tactics that weaken from within long before soldiers march. Still, the real danger is lurking. If these measures succeed, the entire world could face a major upheaval that changes everything. But can we stop this silent buildup? Or are we unknowingly walking into a trap that feeds on our vulnerabilities? Time is running out. The stakes have never been higher. Experts warn of a new phase, an invisible war of ideas, influence, and perception. If Phase Zero unfolds as planned, the floodgates for unimaginable conflict could burst open. The question now? Will it be skirmishes in the shadows, or a revelation so sudden it blindsides us? Our own minds are the next battleground. Can we resist this unseen influence guiding us toward chaos? The quiet preparation is deafening. Detecting the warning signs before it's too late, will we succeed? Or will the next move come suddenly, catching everyone off guard? The stage is set. The players are in position. The outcome hinges on what we see, and what we refuse to see.